Death stalks the Dakota wilderness in the merciless winter of 1878. The bitter cold creeps through every layer of clothing, numbing fingers and stealing breath. But for one young woman, this frozen landscape holds a particularly deadly threat. Lily Hart sits motionless against a frost-covered pine, her unseeing eyes staring ahead as snowflakes collect on her eyelashes. The small hunting knife in her grip, her father's parting gift, remains her only defense against both predators and the killing cold. Have you ever felt utterly abandoned? Left to face impossible odds with nothing but your determination? Today's story reveals how our greatest limitations can become unexpected strengths when survival hangs by the thinnest thread. If you value stories of extraordinary courage and unlikely alliances, hit that subscribe button now. Your support helps bring more of these remarkable true tales to light. 3 days earlier, Lily had been traveling with a wagon train bound for Montana Territory. Born without sight, the 19-year-old daughter of homesteaders had developed remarkable compensatory skills. Her acute hearing could detect a hawk's wings beating high overhead, her sensitive fingers could identify dozens of plants by texture alone. None of these skills prepared her for the sudden, violent blizzard that descended upon the travelers. Horses whinnied in panic. Men shouted orders that were immediately swallowed by howling winds. In the chaos, Lily became separated from her group. "Wait," she had called, her voice lost in the storm's fury. "I'm still here." Whether by cruel intention or terrible accident, the wagon train pressed onward, leaving Lily alone in the swirling white void. The crunch of wagon wheels faded into silence, replaced by the mournful howl of distant wolves. For those first terrifying hours, Lily remained where she stood, hoping against hope that someone would return for her. By morning, reality settled cold and heavy on her shoulders. No one was coming. Her provisions amounted to a few strips of dried venison and half a canteen of water. "I will not die here," she whispered to herself, voice cracking from thirst. "I will not become another forgotten tragedy." On the fourth morning, as frost clung to her woolen shawl like tiny diamond shards, Lily's sensitive ears detected soft footsteps approaching through the snow. She tensed, gripping her knife tighter, knuckles white with determination. "I mean no harm," came a deep voice, cautious and measured. "You are injured." The man who found her was Night Hawk, a Lakota warrior traveling alone, far from his people. His tribe had been decimated in a cavalry attack 2 summers prior, leaving him one of few survivors. Since then, he had lived as a solitary hunter, navigating the dangerous border between 2 worlds, trusted by neither. Night Hawk had not planned to burden himself with a helpless white girl. His path was already treacherous enough. Yet something in Lily's determined posture, despite her obvious vulnerability, stirred something long dormant within him. Perhaps it was the memory of his younger sister, killed in the raid, or simply human compassion he thought he'd lost. "I can find my way," Lily insisted, though her cracked lips and sunken cheeks betrayed her desperate situation. Night Hawk studied her closely. The cloudy film over her eyes revealed her blindness, making her survival thus far even more remarkable. "The nearest settlement is 4 days' ride," he replied. "You will not survive alone." A fragile alliance formed between them as Night Hawk constructed a small travois to transport Lily. Though initially reluctant to depend on a stranger, Lily soon recognized that pride would not keep her alive in this wilderness. "This plant," Night Hawk explained, guiding her fingers to a small shrub protruding through the snow, "holds water inside its stems. If you crush it like this." He demonstrated, and a few precious drops of moisture appeared. Lily's quick mind absorbed every lesson. Night Hawk taught her to identify plants by their scent and texture, to listen for game animals in the underbrush, and to sense changes in the weather before they arrived. "The birds have gone silent," Lily noted on their second day together. "Storm coming?" Night Hawk looked up at the clear sky, surprised. "Yes." "How did you know?" "The air pressure changed. I can feel it against my skin." With each passing day, Night Hawk's respect for his companion grew. Lily, in turn, shared stories from her childhood, tales of her mother who had died of fever 2 years prior, and songs that had comforted her through lonely nights. "My father always said my blindness was a gift," she told Nighthawk one evening as they huddled near a small fire. "He believed I could perceive truths others missed because I wasn't distracted by appearances." Have you ever discovered unexpected strength in what others consider weakness? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. What neither Lily nor Nighthawk realized was that their journey was being observed. A band of bounty hunters led by the merciless Jeremiah Donovan had been tracking Nighthawk for weeks. Donovan's face, marked by a jagged scar running from temple to jaw, had become infamous throughout the territory. "The savage passed through here no more than a day ago," Donovan announced, crouching to examine faint impressions in the snow. His fingers traced the unusual pattern left by the travois. "And he's not alone. Maybe he's got a woman," suggested one of his men, spitting tobacco juice onto the pristine snow. Donovan's eyes narrowed. "Or a hostage. Either way, the price on his head just doubled." Donovan blamed Nighthawk for the death of his brother during a skirmish the previous spring, a confrontation Nighthawk had merely survived, not initiated. Truth held no value for a man consumed by vengeance. $500 to the man who brings me his scalp," Donovan declared, swinging back onto his horse. "We ride through the night." As they traveled eastward toward Fort Harrison, Lily's other senses sharpened remarkably. She could detect the scent of water from miles away, identify approaching riders by the rhythm of hoofbeats, and even predict storms by the changing pressure against her skin. "We must cross here," Nighthawk said, leading her to the edge of a fast-flowing river. Ice chunks tumbled in the current, making each step treacherous. "The water's too high," Lily observed, hearing the rushing current. "Is there no other way?" Donovan's men approach from the west. "We have no choice." The river crossing nearly claimed them both. The freezing water rose to their chests, the current threatening to sweep them away with each cautious step. Lily's hand gripped Nighthawk's arm with surprising strength as they inched across the treacherous riverbed. "3 more steps," Nighthawk encouraged as Lily's teeth chattered uncontrollably. "The bank is close." When they finally collapsed on the opposite shore, their clothes immediately began to freeze in the bitter wind. "We need shelter," Nighthawk said, helping Lily to her feet. "Can you continue?" Lily nodded, though exhaustion threatened to overwhelm her. "Lead on. I'll follow." If this journey of survival against impossible odds inspires you, hit that like button and share this video with someone who needs encouragement today. By nightfall, Lily's strength had deteriorated rapidly. The river crossing had exacted a heavy toll, and fever now burned through her body even as her clothes remained frozen stiff. "You're burning up," Nighthawk said, his voice betraying rare concern as he led her into a small cave sheltered from the wind. "I'm fine," Lily whispered, though her legs gave way beneath her. Nighthawk worked quickly, gathering pine boughs for bedding and building a small fire near the cave entrance. He crushed juniper berries and mixed them with melted snow, creating a bitter tea. "Drink," he instructed, lifting her head gently. "It will help fight the fever." Through the night, Lily drifted between consciousness and fevered dreams. She called out for her father, relived the terror of being abandoned, and wept for her mother. Nighthawk remained vigilant, applying cool compresses to her forehead and brewing more medicinal tea. By dawn, her fever had broken. Lily reached out, her fingers finding Nighthawk's face. "You stayed," she murmured, surprised. "Yes," he replied simply. "Rest now. We move again tonight." Their provisions depleted rapidly as they pushed eastward. When they encountered an old trapper's cabin, Nighthawk approached cautiously, hoping to trade for supplies. "Ain't seen many travelers this winter," the bearded trapper remarked, eyeing Lily suspiciously as she stood slightly behind Nighthawk. "Especially not unusual pairs like yourselves." "We need food and warm clothing," Nighthawk stated. "I can offer these in trade." He produced several fine animal pelts. The trapper's eyes narrowed. "You Nighthawk. Nighthawk tensed but remained silent. There's men looking for you. Say you kidnapped a white girl. The trapper glanced meaningfully at Lily. Bounty's up to $500 now. That's a lie, Lily interjected firmly. He saved my life. Ain't my business either way, the trapper shrugged, accepting the pelts. But Donovan's got half the territory looking for you both. Every settlement, every patrol, they're all potential enemies now. As they departed with their meager supplies, Lily gripped Nighthawk's arm. Leave me at the next trading post, she suggested. You can travel faster alone. Nighthawk was silent for a long moment. They would not believe your story, he finally said. And I have given my word to see you safely to Fort Harrison. What he didn't say was that Lily had become more than an obligation. In her, he had found a reason to continue, a purpose beyond mere survival. Her courage in the face of both her blindness and their desperate circumstances had awakened something he thought had died with his family. Their pursuers finally caught up with them in a narrow canyon 3 days from Fort Harrison. Nighthawk heard them first, 6 riders approaching fast from the west. Don't move, he whispered to Lily, guiding her behind a cluster of boulders that offered some protection. How many? She asked, her voice steady despite the danger. 6. Donovan leads them. Nighthawk checked his weapons, a bow with few remaining arrows and his hunting knife. The odds were impossible. We can't outrun them, Lily stated, reading his silence correctly. No. Nighthawk pressed his second knife into her palm. Stay hidden. If I fall, wait until nightfall, then follow the creek eastward. Lily's fingers closed around the knife handle, but her other hand grabbed his arm with surprising strength. I won't leave you to face them alone. This is not your fight. You made it mine when you saved me. Her unseeing eyes somehow found his face. We survived together or not at all. Nighthawk. Donovan's voice echoed off the canyon walls. We know you're in there. Send out the girl and maybe I'll kill you quick. Nighthawk signaled for Lily to remain silent. The bounty hunters had positioned themselves around the boulder cluster, cutting off all escape routes. You've got 1 minute before we start shooting. Donovan called out. Nighthawk assessed their situation with grim realism. The hunters had rifles, he had a bow with 4 arrows. Their only advantage was Donovan's desire to take them alive, at least initially. When I engaged them, Nighthawk whispered to Lily, move deeper into the rocks. There's a narrow passage that leads. No, Lily interrupted. I have an idea. She quickly explained her plan, using the skills Nighthawk had taught her about the canyon's acoustics and their enemies' positions. It's too dangerous, Nighthawk protested. More dangerous than your suicide charge. Lily countered. Trust me. This incredible story of survival demonstrates how courage appears in the most unexpected situations. If you're finding value in this tale, take a second to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss our weekly stories of extraordinary human resilience. As Donovan's ultimatum expired, chaos erupted. Lily, moving with surprising stealth for someone without sight, had circled behind the hunter's position. Using the skills Nighthawk had taught her about sensing her surroundings through sound echoes, she navigated to a precarious stack of rocks on the canyon rim. With precise movements, she sent a cascade of stones tumbling down the opposite wall, creating a thunderous diversion that echoed throughout the canyon. They're flanking us, one of Donovan's men shouted, swinging his rifle toward the noise. In that moment of confusion, Nighthawk struck. His first arrow found the throat of the nearest hunter. His second pierced the shoulder of another. As he notched his third arrow, a rifle cracked, and white-hot pain seared across his upper arm. I want him alive. Donovan bellowed as Nighthawk stumbled backward, blood seeping through his buckskin shirt. 2 hunters rushed forward, believing Nighthawk critically wounded. They didn't see the knife until it was too late. One fell clutching his thigh, the other retreated with a slash across his forearm. Still, Nighthawk knew the odds were insurmountable. 4 armed men remained, including Donovan. His wound, while not fatal, had weakened his drawing arm significantly. "It's over, savage," Donovan snarled, raising his rifle as Nighthawk backed against the canyon wall, blood dripping from his fingertips. "I'm going to make you beg before you die." Nighthawk's eyes searched for Lily, hoping she had taken the opportunity to escape. Instead, he saw her approaching from behind, moving with uncanny precision through the rocky terrain. Her face was set with determination, Nighthawk's knife held confidently in her grip. "Drop your weapon," Donovan ordered, stepping closer to Nighthawk. "Behind you," Nighthawk warned, but it was too late. Lily struck with astonishing accuracy, her knife slicing across Donovan's gun hand. He howled in pain, the rifle clattering to the ground as he spun to face this new threat. His momentary shock at confronting a blind girl gave Nighthawk the opening he needed. Despite his injury, he lunged forward, tackling Donovan to the ground. The remaining hunters converged, weapons ready, but froze at the sight that met them. "This man is under my protection," Lily declared, her voice unwavering as she stood over Donovan, knife pointing steadily at his throat. "By the authority of my father, Colonel Jonathan Hart of the 7th Cavalry." It was a desperate bluff. Her father had been a simple farmer, but delivered with such conviction that Donovan and his men hesitated. "Colonel Hart's been searching for his daughter for weeks," one hunter muttered uncertainly. "The blind girl," another added, lowering his weapon slightly. Donovan's eyes narrowed with suspicion, but the seed of doubt had been planted. "If you're who you claim, why travel with this savage?" "Nighthawk found me after I was separated from my escort during the blizzard," Lily replied without hesitation. "He's been returning me to my father at Fort Harrison. The man you've been hunting is my rescuer, not my captor." The conviction in her voice created a powerful effect. Even Donovan seemed momentarily uncertain. "Lower your weapons," Nighthawk commanded, pressing his advantage. "Or explain to Colonel Hart why you murdered his daughter and her escort." With Donovan and his remaining men subdued, Nighthawk faced a choice: kill them and risk bringing more hunters down upon them, or find another way. It was Lily who provided the solution. "Bind them," she suggested. "We'll take their horses and weapons. By the time they free themselves, we'll be at Fort Harrison." Using rope from the hunters' own packs, Nighthawk secured each man to separate trees, just close enough that they might eventually work together to escape, but not before many hours had passed. "My father will hear about this," Lily told Donovan as Nighthawk helped her onto one of the confiscated horses. "Your hunting days are over." As they rode away, leading 4 extra horses, Nighthawk glanced at his companion with newfound respect. "There is no Colonel Hart, is there?" A small smile crossed Lily's face. "No. But they don't know that." "You saved my life," Nighthawk said quietly. "As you saved mine," Lily replied. "We're even now." The horses moved at a brisk pace, eating up the miles between them in safety. For the first time since their journey began, hope seemed within reach. 2 days later, they arrived at Fort Harrison. Lily's story, carefully constructed to protect Nighthawk, gained sympathy from the commander's wife, Rebecca, who had lost her own daughter to illness. Nighthawk, introduced as Lily's guide hired after she was separated from her wagon train, was regarded with suspicion but not outright hostility. "Your quick thinking saved us both," Nighthawk told Lily as they settled into the relative safety of the fort. As winter settled deeper over the territory, Lily became a valued member of the community. When a shipment arrived containing raised letter books from back east, she began teaching children to read, her patience and gentle manner winning over even the most skeptical parents. Nighthawk remained nearby, working as a scout and hunter for the fort. His knowledge of the territory proved invaluable during the harsh winter months when game became scarce and weather threatened supply lines. "The children ask about you," Lily told him one evening as they shared a quiet meal. "They want to hear our story." "What do you tell them?" Nighthawk asked. "The truth," Lily replied. That sometimes heroes don't look how we expect them to. We all face prejudice in some form. Have you ever formed an unlikely friendship that changed your perspective? Share your experience in the comments below. As winter began to loosen its grip on the land, a commotion at the fort gates signaled trouble. Donovan had arrived with reinforcements, his face twisted with fury as he demanded justice. "That savage is a wanted man," he shouted, pointing accusingly at Night Hawk as the fort commander, Captain Wilson, stood between them. "He's responsible for killing white settlers." "Mr. Donovan," Captain Wilson replied calmly, "I've received no such reports from official channels. Night Hawk has served this fort admirably through a difficult winter." "He's fooled you all," Donovan persisted, his hand hovering near his pistol. "Ask the girl. She's his captive." All eyes turned to Lily, who stood at the edge of the gathering, her back straight, her clouded eyes somehow finding Donovan with unerring accuracy. "Night Hawk saved my life," she stated clearly, her voice carrying across the suddenly silent yard. "Mr. Donovan, however, attacked us unprovoked and threatened to kill my guide despite my protests." Captain Wilson's expression hardened. "Is this true, Donovan?" "She's lying. She's been bewitched by that savage." 6 separate witnesses have confirmed her account, the captain continued. "Including 2 of your former men who arrived here yesterday, seeking honest work." Donovan's face paled as he saw 2 familiar figures step forward from among the fort personnel. The final confrontation with Donovan marked a turning point. With his reputation destroyed and his bounty hunting license revoked by territorial authorities, he departed the fort in disgrace. As spring flowers began to appear in sheltered valleys, Lily and Night Hawk found themselves at another crossroads. "The supply wagon leaves for Helena tomorrow," Night Hawk told Lily as they walked along the fort's perimeter. "The captain says you can travel with them if you wish." Lily stopped, her fingers finding Night Hawk's wrist with practiced ease. "Is that what you think I should do?" "It would be safer," he acknowledged. "You could find work as a teacher. People respect you." "And what about you?" Night Hawk gazed toward the western mountains. "I have no place among your people." "Then I will make my place among yours," Lily replied simply. "Or we will find somewhere new, together." The following dawn found them preparing for departure, loading supplies onto 2 sturdy horses. Captain Wilson himself came to see them off, presenting Lily with a letter of introduction and Night Hawk with a rifle. "The Montana Territory is still wild," the captain warned. "But perhaps that means it has fewer prejudices as well." 3 days into their journey, they made camp on a high ridge overlooking a vast, untouched valley. The spring air carried the scent of pine and new growth, promising an end to winter's hardship. As the campfire crackled softly between them, Lily reached out to touch Night Hawk's face, her fingertips gently tracing the lines that hardship and now hope had etched there. "Tell me what you see," she requested, as she often did. Night Hawk gazed at the landscape spread before them, bathed in the golden light of sunset. For the first time since losing his family, he allowed himself to envision a future. "I see mountains ahead," he replied, his voice soft but certain. "And beyond them, a place where we might build something new." Lily smiled, her hand finding his. "Then that's where we'll go."